Welcome everyone to Neverwinter on PC. My name is Rainer and today I am releasing a bug tracker for class related bugs. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you would like to see more informational videos about Neverwinter, hit the subscribe button. About a week ago there was a developer stream on Twitch featuring Julia and the new lead systems designer Robert Gutierrez. In this stream they talked and answered questions regarding the bug fixing of the Bard and the next class coming up, the Wizard. For the Bard, Robert got a very convenient bug list which helped him make more fixes than if he wouldn't have had that list. And he actually said in the stream that he most likely would have been able to fix even more bugs if he would have had that list from the start. You guys all know how much I like overviews, and this combined with the need for a good overview of bugs pushed me towards realizing a class bug overview. Now again, the Wizard will be the next as stated in the stream, but that does not mean that other classes don't have any bugs. We all know that there's a lot of them. So I will be collecting as many bugs as possible from all classes. As you can see here in the list, we have tabs for each of the 9 classes. I already had some contact with people reporting bugs for a couple of classes and already added them to the list, as well as a couple things I found when testing the Ranger a bit. Over time, it would be nice if this list grows to be as complete as possible, with the list of bugs as much as possible verified, so that the quality of the list is decent. This is of course not a task for one person. I can only do so much, and I have other things I am working on as well. So this is where you all can help. If you find any bugs or you are testing and you have a list yourself, make sure to send the list either to my Neverwinter email, rainer.neverwinter@gmail.com, or send them to me on my Discord, Rainer #5152. I will make sure that the bug reports are added to the list, with credits of course, as you can see. In order to be able to analyze the game and the bug sources properly, you can use the character builder to do some handy checks, and I will demonstrate that in a moment. It is of course not mandatory, but as you will see soon, it is very, very convenient. And so let's go into that, and I will show off a little bit of a couple of bugs of the Ranger that I found. So let's go into the game. I am on preview here in the training room, where I have made a very simple character, a very simple build with a bow and axes without any special bonus. What I typically do when testing is use one ring that gives ranged power damage or melee power damage. So I have the spy ring and I have the master ring here, and I have a tit for tat ring that checks at will and encounter powers damage, as well as daily power damage decrease. So you have basically everything in there. Other than that, I have not put much on here. I have no feats at the moment. I use stuff that doesn't directly affect my damage. Actually, I should remove this here. I guess I can use this one instead, because I only have one enemy. So I want to use as much as possible, I want to avoid as much as possible things that can disturb my results. Boons I have not used at all. Of course you can work upon this and add as much as you need every time. Make your scope of testing grow slowly, but start small. That's typically how I like to do my testing. I have no companions. And for my mounts, I just added a bit of item level basically. I'm not going to use this, but this is 3000 item level, and I added a couple of stats here. So in order to make sure that the character builder gives the correct results, you should always, before you start testing, check that the stats are exactly as in the game. So I made a build in the character builder, which has an item level of 13,930, just like here. Then we have damage is the same, and you can see these percentages are all exactly the same. And that will make sure that if you have calculated expected values for damage, they should end up with the correct values. And we will see that that is actually the case. So what you can do in the character builder is go to, let me show you, extra, the stat analyzer, and then you get this handy tool with a lot of calculators in here. We have the damage analyzer, which shows which stat will give you the best damage increase, for healing the same, for effective hit points the same, and we also have the damage and healing calculator. And for the ranger, the damage calculator is very, very useful. And I will show you exactly how I make this work. So in here, I can fill in values that are applicable for a power. It will tell me what the projected value, what the damage values should be that I get out of these, out of the game. And here I can fill in what the game is actually returning to me in damage. And that should be the same. So the difference should be 0. If it's not 0, then something is off. And you can see how much is off. And now I will make sure to show you in a second. So there's two things I would like to test, which I already know are bugged. One is Cold Steel Hurricane, which is of course a daily. So if we fill in what this power does, we can see it's 700 magnitude, so magnitude 700. So it's a distance ranged, it's damage type magical, and power type, it's a daily of course. Enemy type is going to be regular. I think the weak illusions have a different stats, at least the first time when I used this it was like that. And we can see that with this setup, the projected values for damage are these values. So these are the values that I'm expecting to get. And now let's do some damage. So we're going to first do some damage without combat advantage. So we have just an enemy here, max AP, to make sure that we don't lose any. And we can see that this is a deflected regular hit, so not a crit, of 7303. And you can see that a regular damage deflect without combat advantage, 7303. That is perfect. If we do this again, we have a deflected crit of 8306. Which is not okay. Okay, we'll figure out what is going on there in a second. And we have a non-deflected crit of 1150, which is off by the same. So that is already very telling. So let's see if we can get a normal non-deflected hit. Not yet. Still no. Still no. Come on, game. Why are you deflecting everything? It's 50% chance. Set 9, 7, 16. Okay. 9, 7, 16. Alright, so we see that the crits are somehow off. And this is one of the bugs that I found. Let's do the same for combat advantage. So to get combat advantage here, we just spawn a illusion, which you can see here will give us combat advantage. So let's do this again. We have here a normal non-deflected hit of, what was it? 1480, which is also correct. Let's continue. We have another 1480, another. Okay, now everything is, there's a 1613 non-deflected. Again, minus 26.6, which is very suspicious. 1613, 1237. And then we need a regular deflected, which will be 10583. There it is, 10583. Perfect. So we can see that the values are all correct, except for everything that is related to crit. And this is one of the weird bugs that has actually hit not just the ranger, but this has happened on a lot of other classes as well. I know the fighter had one attack that had the same issue, and that is that crit severity of our crit is actually reduced by our own critical avoidance. So we have 41.2% critical avoidance, which is actually being removed from our critical severity. Now, because this is a often reoccurring feature or bug, I added it to the options. So I have a use critical severity. You can set this off, but I also have here an option that I wanted countered by my critical avoidance. And if I enable this, you see that the values are actually exactly the same. So we know that this bug is applicable for this power, and the rest is everything is perfect. We know that's a magical power. It's not physical, because then the damage values would not be correct anymore. We know that it's buffed by ranged. Otherwise, if we set this to melee, the difference is off at 3% from the ranged damage bonus. We also know that this is a daily. The damage is reduced by 30%. Otherwise, we would have a lot more damage. So we can check all of these things that is correct. And we know that this bug is actually present here. So that is the first power that I wanted to show you guys how to test. And then we have another one, which is going to be plant growth, which is also a very interesting one because it has some weird behavior. So let me first fill in the parameters for plant growth. It's 150 magnitude. It's an encounter. So we can remove all of these. They're not applicable anymore. Then plant growth, we have 150 magnitude. It is at I don't know what it is. It would be melee, I think. I would expect it to be melee. Then it is physical damage. I already checked that, and you would say that it's encounter. It's an encounter power because it is encounter. And let's just set this all to normal. So it uses power, it uses critical severity, it uses accuracy, and then these are going to be the values, but these are not going to be correct. So let's check this. We have cooldowns set to 0. And now let's go in. We first start with combat advantage here now. And we have well, the plant growth. Well, let's just use the plant growth initial hit 4804, but I think the others have the same magnitude, right? Let me see, critical hit 4804, and it was a deflected hit, I think. I forgot to look. We have a deflect normal hit 3100. Advantage deflected regular 3100. You will see that these values are all a little bit off. Normal crit 6391. Then we have 4125. And then we need a deflected crits. Come on. Oh, 4804. I think that's the one. Yeah, 4804. All right, so now we see that these are the values and they're all off by 5.7%. So there's a couple of things to note here. It is an encounter power, but for some reason it's not buffed by encounter damage bonus. So we have this tit for tat ring, which makes your encounter powers do 3% more damage. But that for some reason is not working. And if we remove this, we're still off by 2.8%. And we can see here, we also have distance melee, which is the same as none for this power because we don't have any melee bonus. And if we set this to ranged, then we actually off more. But if we set this to negative ranged, then the values all of a sudden are very close. Wait, is this magical? No, it's not. But we are super close now. I'm not sure why this is still 0.2% off. It should be a lot closer than that. But there are some weird things going on. Let's try some non-combat advantage attacks. 2139 deflected, 4410. Then we have a 2846, 3315. So you can see everything is 0.2% off. Not sure why it is this off, but I'm pretty sure that for some reason Because if I put on the melee ring, I can also do that. Let's put on the melee ring. Wait, I have to be out of combat, and this I have to disable. Now I can switch to the melee ring. Of course, I have to do it also in the character builder. Always make sure to recheck your stats. So we have this here, and we see that we are off a little bit. Oh, 2000 item level. Did I think I missed armor break. Yeah. Like that. Okay. And now if we look here, we have item levels correct. This is correct. And then these percentages are also all correct. Okay, so now we can rely on the damage values that we got out of here. And if we set this back to minus ranged, right now we're going to be expecting these damage values with this other equipment. And if we're going to test this with the melee ring, 3337, we have this one that was 2154. Yeah, see, with the ranged ring, everything is correct, and that led me to believe that it's actually in the distance, where it is somehow negatively buffed by range damage. And just try to figure that out without this tool. It's really complicated. 2154, and you'll see that if you go through all of this, you will see that all the values will just add up like this. So yeah, we have a power type. It's not an encounter, and we can see that again with the melee ring. We still have the tit for tat ring, but you can see that the damage values are now perfectly in tune. You can also set this to melee, but it's not buffed by melee for sure. It is somehow negatively buffed by ranged. Anyway, we're not here to analyze the stat analyzer. I'm just showing you that you can project damage values very well with this calculator and with these settings, which can then show you whether power is acting as expected or whether it has some weird things that it's acting up with. So that was a long section to show you guys how this thing works. It'll help if you use this to make it much clearer. Maybe you can also show me this screen if you fill in some bugs or file some bugs, which will give some added insight how well validated it is, because I want to make sure that the bugs that are reported are of a decent quality. But yeah, if you want to test and you want to supply bugs, help the community find more bugs, get the quality of the game up as much as possible, that's the end goal, then make sure to give me the bugs so I can add them to the list, and it's easily available for the developers to look through for all the classes. So that's gonna be it. If you have any remarks in this video or any suggestions on what to investigate next, feel free to leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.